Good afternoon, Mr. Steven. Thanks for being here. How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Glad to hear you are fine. Okay, let's begin. You were born and grew up and living in this big city of London, right?
I was born just outside of London in a place called Hertfordshire, but my grandparents lived in London. So from a very young age, I was going into London.
So, can you tell me about your experience in this wonderful place?
Yeah. So as well as visiting my grandparents when I was younger, my wife and I and our son, we lived in London for approximately 5 years before coming to Colombia. We lived in a couple of different areas in London. First of all, we lived in Chelsea for that was for about 4 years, and then we went to North London and we lived in Islington for a year, which was very nice.
Oh, that's amazing. Second question, which is the best time for travel to London?
The weather in the UK generally is very unpredictable, and the summers are very short. But the best time to go is in the summer because it can be very cold outside of the summer and it can be very wet outside of the summer. My favourite time of the year is in June because there is a tennis tournament in London that I love to go to, which is the Wimbledon Championships, and that's Wimbledon is an area in London. So my favourite time of the year to be in London is when the tennis is on in the month of June.
Okay. Which aspect do you like about this city?
I really like the diversity of London. So it's like
Sorry, the most aspect.
um. So I really like that there's so many different neighborhoods that are all very different with a very different feel. So even though you're only in one city, it's you can feel 2 weeks on holiday by going to 14 different places in London, and they all feel very different. So you can get such a broad experience of the United Kingdom within a single city.
Is there something about it you don't like?
It's very expensive, so that would be the the negative. So you have to be careful about where you choose to go and to avoid what we call tourist traps. So places that are there in a particular location that are designed to bring tourists in, where it's bad quality but high prices.
Which kind of food is native to London?
So there's probably two types. First of all, something that has become native to London but which originally isn't native is Indian cuisine. So because we have a lot of Asian immigrants in London, they brought their food with them, and there's a really amazing road in London called Brick Lane, and it's a long road and it's just lots of Indian restaurants, and that's my favourite place to go and eat, and the Indian food in London is the best in the world.
Oh, perfect. What can you tell us about transport and traveling within the city?
So there's two primary means of transport. If you're in a rush to get somewhere, you should take the tube, and it's very convenient, it's very quick, and there's lots of tube stops in all the places that you want to go to in London. So it's really a convenient means of travel. But if you're not in a rush and you're there to see the city, I would recommend taking a red double-decker bus and getting up onto the second floor of the bus and using the journey around London to see more of the city. That's my favourite way to travel around London. Or and then now there's more cycle lanes, and they have things called a Boris bike, which is named after our current Prime Minister, but it's from when he was the Mayor of London, and he brought in these bikes that you can hire and ride for short distances, and then you park them up in a cycle rack again.
To conclude, there is another question I would like to ask. Do you believe the pandemic directly affect that the magic that has always characterized the series?
It has done, and it continues to do so, but I think when there's a vaccine and life returns to normal, I think London is going to recapture its magic, and I think it's going to be an even better place than it was before the pandemic, because I think the pandemic will change how people treat each other, and it's going to be a nicer place. Unfortunately, London is one of the cities that was most heavily hit by the pandemic because it's a travel hub. So currently, it's still under a phase of lockdown, but that's being alleviated now because the numbers are much lower in London.
What do you want to say to all the people that haven't been to London yet or now the city?
I think wait until there's a vaccine, and then that should be a place that's top of the travel list. It's just one of those global cities that you have to go and experience, and as well as doing the typical tourist spots like Buckingham Palace and Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, go to London and give yourself plenty of time to see the aspects of the hidden aspects of London, the Notting Hill Market, Camden Town, go and have a curry on Brick Lane, do a pub crawl along the River Thames, all those kind of things. It's just one of those locations in the world, along with Paris and Rome and New York City, that you just have to experience.
All right, with the finish the interview. Thank you so much, Mr. Steven.
You're very welcome, Sarah.